Monsters, Season 3, Episode 7, Small Blessings. Small Blessings is the Monsters' takeoff of the demonic baby genre. And wow, does that baby look frightening. If you were a woman and this thing came out of you, you would be freaking out too. It also includes David Spade as the delivery boy, the meat delivery boy. They seem to order a lot of the stuff, their baby being a true eat-meat monster. The mother, Wendy, is an overworked stay-at-home mom and is scared and frustrated at their little monster. The father, Louis, loves the monster just the way he is.
Eric!
Come on out, Eric. There's nothing wrong with my boy. He's just a
36-pound fang carnivorous mutant, that's all.
a special child.
Oh, try telling that to them at the birthing center. That special child nearly killed 2 midwives.
They acted unprofessionally.
I know it's not his fault, Louis. Let's just find him.
There's a subplot about a slasher around the neighborhood. Is the slasher the baby or David Spade? They spend a long time trying to find the baby. The best part of this episode is the animatronic demon child, so seeing him missing in action for so long does bring the episode down a bit. They do some analogies to raising children, how you can't get any sleep, they eat a lot, and stress you out. Halfway through the episode, they finally find their child, walking around outside, and things pick up as the treasure hunt is over.
What if he got out? Out of the house? What if someone sees him?
So what?
The neighbors will see him, our child, and they'll panic. And after they panic, they'll organize. The PTA will burn a cross on our lawn. And then one night, they'll come for us, wearing lederhosen and those little hats with feathers in them, carrying torches and chanting in German. And they'll scream for our baby and our blood. And they'll never invite me over for coffee or Tupperware parties. And we'll have to put the house on the market. And the market is flat, Louis! It's flat!
Okay, Louis is here.
Oh, honey!
What's this? Is this a fur hat?
The animatronics of the baby are great, and it was a good choice to go with this instead of a puppet. He can move his eyes, mouth, and even turn his head a bit. It makes him look more alive. This was 1990, before CGI would be used for a television series, and why I wish we saw more of the baby, since it looks absolutely horrifying, and even gives Chucky a run for his money. We learn, surprise, the slasher is David Spade, and he reminds us why we never see him play a bad guy.
What you're talking about?
I'm here to work, Mrs. Prozac. I'm the guy, Mrs. P. It's me. The Coomers, the Slothrops, I'm the one. I'll admit they were a mistake, but I'm learning. I mean, they were good practice, but they weren't sexy. I mean, take the Coomers. You knock off some 50-year-old guy with a big fat gut, and who cares? You're buried on the back page.
Eric. Oh. What a good boy. Mommy loves you.
I will give Small Blessings a 5 out of 10. The baby effects are pretty standout and has some famous actors. It's another one-room location and is one of the more comedic episodes. But the parenting puns are laid on a bit thick. It's not an episode that I would skip, but it was enjoyable enough. Julia Brown played the mother, Wendy. She was in Bloody Birthday, Police Academy 2, and was the teacher, Miss Stover, in Clueless. Kevin Nielsen played Louis. He was in a bunch of 90s films. Anger Management, Grandma's Boy, Little Nicky, Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer. I think he is friends with Adam Sandler. And obviously, David Spade, who is known for getting a really, really hot Playboy playmate, Julian Grace, pregnant.
It's Jillian Grace. And I'm Pilar Lastra. We're here promoting the Playmate Hour on Sirius Radio.
And then stepped up to the plate and became a great dad. Good job, David Spade. He was also in some movies. This Monsters appearance was David Spade's 5th acting role of his career, and while David Spade was 26 in this role, he always looked very young. He was in Tommy Boy, Black Sheep with Chris Farley, Joe Dirt, Grown Ups, and from 1990 to 1993, he was a cast member of SNL. Wow, 2 star-studded episodes in a row. First we get David Spade, now we get Joey from Friends, Matt LeBlanc as a reluctant vampire hunter, and a bonus, Wil Wheaton. In episode 8 of season 3 of Monsters, shaving a haircut, 2 bites.
I've been watching them for weeks, man. There is something really weird going on there. I have seen other old guys go in there to get a haircut, and they come out with their hair the same.
Okay, I'll bite. Pardon the expression. If they don't go in for a haircut, then what do they do?
I'm not sure. I think it's some kind of trade. They go in carrying these big bottles of something, but they come out with these little bottles filled with red fluid, blood.
There's just one problem with that, Kev.
What?
Vampires are supposed to steal blood, not trade it.
Okay. But there is something weird going on there.
So, Wil Wheaton has decided the barbershop across from him is harboring vampires and does what any teenager would do. Breaks into the barbershop to save the world from vampires and find out their secret. Matt LeBlanc plays the everyman, going along with his friend, but also showing skepticism. They don't spend too much time in the bedroom and quickly get to the more exciting part of the barbershop. Good choice. The barbershop does have an effective setting. Seems to reference Sweeney Todd. In college, I went to an old school barbershop right next to campus, and they did a shave with a razor, and I thought this guy was going to take my head off. Who wants a stranger shaving you with an open razor? So they play on this theme of old-timey barbers who will put a razor right to your neck, out of nowhere. This was 1990, and these old school barbers were already passé.
I read a lot about vampires, Tom. A lot. And most of the serious stuff agrees that the vampire legends were starting to fade around the late 16th century. Now, people still believed in them and everything. They were just less afraid of them. The number of sightings and executions dropped off. It was like they'd gone underground or something.
Or maybe people were just getting smarter, less superstitious.
No, think! Maybe the vampires were being wiped out. People knew about them and how to fight them.
Oh, like a stake through the heart?
Among other things. The vampires need to hide. Make people think they're gone and still get the blood they need. If you're a vampire, where do you go?
Transylvania?
No! You join the Barbers Guild.
Wil Wheaton goes on a long rant, and they throw you a curveball. He gives an account of the vampires and actually ends up being wrong. A lot of times in movies, the crazy theory about centuries-old vampires ends up being right. But the writers knew this, and sorry, Wil Wheaton, you are close, but no cigar. He is on the right track. This barbershop is up to some naughty business.
Tell us one that is not just a superstition. Tell us an important one.
Crosses. All vampires hate and fear crosses.
Stupid boy. If you had followed me on Sunday, rather than Monday, you would have seen me go to Mass at St. Bonaventure's. As my father did, and his father before him.
You forgot the most important thing about vampires. Mirrors. Aren't vampires supposed to hate mirrors, boy? They don't throw reflectors, isn't that right?
That's just in the movies. They don't like him because they throw their real reflection.
Well, here you see my real reflection, and Mr. D'Onofrio's. Do we look like the Nosferatu to you, the undead?
Matt LeBlanc tries to escape into the third and best set of the episode. Monsters saved a lot of money on the last episode, Small Blessings, in its one-room location, and now it's time to go buck wild. The barbers aren't vampires. They just serve blood to an evil slug monster, and in return, get an extension on their life. Duh.
That's the vampire.
Come. You and your friend were curious? Come and meet the master. Hoc sustinete, majus veniet mala. By the time the masters approached our guild, almost 6 centuries ago by now, they had already passed beyond hope of hiding amongst humankind. You see, they have continued to change, to allow themselves to be themselves, you might say.
Don't worry about bleeding to death, boy. After 14 generations, I am expert at this.
8 out of 10. The monster is large and actually moves quite a bit. Both characters do a good job, and we even get the first glimpse of Joey eyes. The writers screw with you, but It's not an ending you would guess. You just get the vibe during the episode that Wil Wheaton is off his rocker and is a pretend know-it-all. He thinks he has the whole thing figured out, and I'm glad the writers decided he would be wrong. Also, it ends not with both characters being killed, but rather in both of them being recruited. Well done, Monsters. The writer was Dan Simmons, who also wrote another good episode of Monsters from Season 2, The Offering, that featured a huge slug monster. It kind of seems to be his thing. Wil Wheaton was a child actor who was in 1986's Stand By Me and was in Star Trek The New Generation series. He has continued to do voices for Grand Theft Auto 5 and Fallout New Vegas. He was also in the great series The Guild. Matt LeBlanc, of course, is known for being in all 234 episodes of Friends from 1994 to 2004 as the lovable doofus, Joey.
I don't even know how I would go about it.
Well, what I do is I look a woman up and down and I say, hey, how you doing?
Now you a single mom. Now you a single mom. Now you a single. Showing a baby off. Showing a baby off.
Monsters Season 3, Episode 9, The Young and the Headless. Karen Valentine, also known as her previous persona Gidget, gets a visit from her hunky but dumb old-time ex-husband, who she thought died while serving in the military overseas. They don't say which operation he was involved in, but it involved the jungle and they reference native tribes. So let's just say he was part of the Contras. She is a desperate housewife, knowing he is trouble. She is currently married to a nice guy who is wheelchair-bound and not able to satisfy her womanly desires. She's stuck in a dichotomy as old as time. Do you go for the dumb, muscular, good-looking guy, or the dorky but stable nerd who earns more money and will listen to your super long stories?
I don't know what to think. What hung in our head was very intense, very physical. I loathe him, but my body has a mind of its own. He's in my system like a drug.
We might as well face it. You're addicted.
Oh, Edward, I'm so sorry. What am I going to do?
Let me handle this.
The husband is very accepting of this and understands his wife's desires. Is there a word for this? Duck? Stuck? They are both surgeons and find a way to weird science their way into satisfying the husband and the wife. This episode is very bloody, with many scenes of surgery as they saw off people's heads and limbs. They don't have sexual chemistry, but they do both share the love of surgery.
Take off the safety. Then insert it. Pointing up. Eh? Oh, and then you just pull the trigger? Just don't yank it. Just squeeze gently. I'm watching. I shall. Yes!
Now we see why it's called The Young and the Headless. Obviously, it's a takeoff of the soap opera The Young and the Restless, which so far has had a total of 12,500 episodes and is still running after over 40 years. Its first episode premiering in 1973. Wow, that's a lot of drama in soap. They have jerry-rigged a robot-type thing with her ex-husband Hunk's body. He is their butler and dances with Karen, something her current husband can't do. Her current husband can control the robot the entire time, giving him satisfaction as well, I guess. Well, he seems to kind of enjoy it. Hopefully it doesn't come alive and have a mind of his own and end up seducing her without her husband's assistance. They use some green screen effects for the headless guy. I think it looks fine for a 1990 TV show. And the ending with Karen Valentine getting her perfect husband. The complete package, some might say. Her current husband's head on Hunk's body. Awesome. It's a really good ending, and it actually kind of makes sense. Can't believe I just said that. I give Young and the Headless 7 out of 10. Karen Valentine, the wife, was on the Ed Sullivan Show in the 1960s. The movie, Gidget Grows Up, and 113 episodes of Room 222. And she hates the word cute, but she is kind of cute. The episode was directed by Tom Abrams, who wrote the movie Smoking Aces 2 and some episodes of The Rugrats. Next time we'll cover the episode The Waiting Room with nuclear war and vampires.
Eric, it's me, Maureen. You look just the way I pictured you. I need your help, guys. Can I come in for a minute? Eric, let me in.
There's over 300 rats out there. You should be dead.
Our counters read high too. Must be a glitch. There are lots of survivors.